Ladies and gentlemen, we are live. We are live and back at it again, folks. It's a Thursday night, and we bring you the NXT Deadline preview and predictions tonight. We're going to get into the matches. We're going to get into the rumors. We're going to get into the stories. We're going to get into it all. It's going to be a fun one. Get in that chat. All the buttons. Be a part of the show. Be a part of the fun. And make sure you strap in, strap on, grab your snacks, grab your feel good. Let's go. Ding, ding, ding. We are live and back at it again, folks. Like I said, we are jumping into NXT Deadline. We are the Wrestling for Life Network. This is another preview show as we bring it all. Me and these two pretty faces going to run through the card, run through the excitement, run through it all, and break it down for everybody out there tonight. It's going to be a fun one, folks. But I will remind you, I am Mr. Every Night, KJ White, the Iron Man of YouTube. That is the chapeau that runs the show, Sweet Tony Rings, and that is Big Nick.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, the Wrestling for Life Network proudly brings to you its tag stream trios, champions of the world, the chapeau that runs the show, ringside Anthony, the Every Night Delight, KJ White. I am Big Nick, and yes, we got NXT Deadline on tap.
That we do. How are we feeling about this show, boys? Are you ready for it? I see that chat blowing up. Get your opinions in there as well. We will have some polls popping up, but how do you guys feel? 5 matches, pretty short and sweet, but 2 Iron Survivors. How do you feel about it?
I'm looking forward to it. Out of the 5 matches, there is only 1 match on the card that I'm not excited for. But other than that, like I'm super excited for this NXT Premium Live event. They always deliver at a Premium Live event. I don't feel like they really ever disappoint. So Saturday can't get here quick enough.
Well, 100%. I'm absolutely excited for this. They've done a really good job, too, of intertwining a lot of the storylines and everything. Like, we're going to talk about some of them when we get to some of the matches, but like the men's match, Eddie Thorpe, will he be able to compete after he just got taken out? We've got Nathan Frazier doing double duties. So, and yes, I said duties. So we're going to see how that goes.
100%, 100%. Looking forward to it. Yeah, an interesting one. And I mean, again, we're still trying. It's only the 3rd time they've done the Iron Survivor. So some people out there trying to figure out exactly what it all means. But again, 10 competitors, 2 matches. It should be fun. If you get pinned or submitted, you end up in the penalty box and basically a 25-minute sprint. So it should be a fun one. Tag titles will be on the line. Like you mentioned, can Eddie Thorpe go? So that's intriguing. What does Ava have up her sleeve? Does she have the perfect replacement for Eddie? We will find out. But, a lot of intrigue going into this one for sure.
Absolutely, absolutely. And now we've had it too added announced with the NXT Underground match with Jada Parker and Lola Vice and the Brick. So we'll see how that plays out.
100%. But yeah, it should be interesting. I'm looking forward to it. I think, like you both said, should be a fun one. We will get into all of it. Sorry, the chat is making me chuckle. Hello out there. Remember, we are back tomorrow for SmackDown and Rampage, and then we're also here for Deadline on Saturday. It's going to be a fun one, and then another week of stuff. Saturday night main events coming up. So much to dive into. We got a Ring of Honor pay-per-view now announced with Cardona taking on Jericho. Yay! We got a lot to get into with that regard. But it should be fun nonetheless. But I mean, again, they've made this their new thing of very short cards, not a lot of matches on them, but trying to give them time to cook. So it shall be very interesting.
Absolutely. Well, and you've got the 2 Iron Survivors, like you said, that's a half hour or so tied up right there. And NXT doesn't go normally the length of like a WWE pay-per-view per se. So they've still got like an hour less to work with.
Yeah, and I think it starts at 7. So if you're telling me on a Saturday night we're gonna be out here by 9:30, I mean, I'm here for it.
100%. So I think the first match we'll jump into as far as predicting. This was another match that just came upon us on Tuesday, kind of like the Lola match. We are getting tag titles on the line. We have Fraxium taking on the No Quarter Catch Crew For once, I actually said it proper. But
Right.
Tavion and Miles making a claim, winning a battle royal to get here.
Absolutely. And I liked the closing shot, or what we thought was one of the closing shots of NXT, especially after that. Or there was the last chance match where you had Frazier, who was looking at everyone that it was going to be facing in the Iron Survivor match and everything. Meanwhile, Axiom's looking at no quarter catch crew that's coming up the ramp to, doing the Tiffy time, selling the clocks out here. So we've already teased the little split back and forth between Axiom and Frazier. Are we going to see that really torn asunder, especially with Frazier having to do double duty?
Yeah, I didn't really realize that Frazier was pulling double duty until you actually said that. But there is some tension between those two, and I feel like that tension could boil over to Deadline, where it might potentially lose them the tag team titles. They've held it for a couple of months here, and I think they lost it and then won it back again.
Right.
It's time for some new tag team champions in NXT. I'm here for it if they do decide to flip the coin here and take the titles off of them.
But if it's no quarter catch crew, though, that's the thing. Like, out
I'm
of
okay
all the tag teams in NXT, you took no quarter.
Well, and actually, I'm surprised to hear you say that. I mean, Tavion Heights has come back from Japan with a new attitude, a new kind of vibe about him. They looked good on the weekend. Again, it would be a little bit of a surprise, but why not? I mean, you're trying to build people. You want to surprise. I'm actually going to be straight up. I'm taking Tavion and Miles to win. I think the double duty is an issue. I think that they're distracted. And I mean, I like Fraxium and what they've done. I'd actually like to see them take on MCMG, but yeah, I'm going to go against them on Saturday and take the no quarter pound crew to take them out.
Yeah, I would agree with you with taking Miles and Tavion. I feel like I don't want to use the phrase or term like they've had it long enough, but NXT is about building some new stars and churning out some new teams. And I feel like this might be the one where they actually lose it to Miles and Tavion, and they might actually try to build those two up as a legitimate tag team down the line.
I was going to say all of what you guys have said, but for the sake of being difficult, because I think I'd put myself down an alley, I will take our favorite Spaniard. I will take Not Man and Robin. We've already seen one tag team split this week. I don't need to see a second. I don't need a flashback of New Day memories. So Nathan Frazier and Axiom retain. I'll stick to that.
All right. I mean, again, it's a pretty straightforward match. Again, the big story with will Axiom and Frazier have some issues? Will they stumble? We'll see. I mean, again, it'll be very intriguing as we get to it. But 2-on-1 for this prediction, and 82% of the chat agree with Nick.
Oh, I was not expecting that. We were all going to be in agreement. I just chose to be the redheaded stepchild here. And do you think that we may see more of the effect of when it comes to Frazier in the co-main event, I assume, with the men's Iron Survivor match, of that might be where he gets more hung up and everything like that. And we start to see that kind of the wheels fall off.
Maybe.
Yeah, I feel like if this match, and it's probably will be like before the Iron Survivor match, I feel like if they lose here, this is going to mess with his head to be in that Iron Survivor, and it's really going to mess him up from winning that match as well.
It could also lead to Axiom showing up at the Iron Survivor and kicking him in the face. So, hey,
yeah,
I'm all for
awesome.
it. Yeah, why not? Really break it up. But for Axiom to win. Now, we did see no quarter catch crew.
You got to say it polite this time. You got to say it polite.
It was kind of their night. Ren wins. These guys
run one on the flukiest of flukes.
Yeah, I did not see that coming.
Right.
KJ versus the horse. Yeah, that's definitely happening. The horse won, just for the record.
He kicked out at Nay.
Breaking news: Nick is Bandito in the mask.
Bang bang. Yeah.
Fraxium to retain. Dun dun dun. Well, that's
gonna be a good show. Absolutely.
What's that?
I was just reading the back end of that comment. Sorry, he said going to be a good show, and I said absolutely.
I think so. Next match on the docket. Actually, I'll skip that one. We'll go to this one. As we get the surprise match. I thought this was an amazing segment. We were talking about it before we went live. Miss Parker runs out with a brick and demands they take the ropes down, but they held off and they wait till deadline to do the NXT Underground match.
Yeah, a lot of this segment like went so fast. So you had Lola come out and try to attack Jada Parker, but she hit Ren. Ren fell down for the pin. 1, 2, 3. That was, amazing. And then after, I don't know, and I might have missed it. I don't know if it went to commercial or it just cut to Lola Vice. I mean, not Lola Vice, but Jada Parker coming out demanding the ropes to be taken down and everything. I thought that was just a perfect setup. And Lola came out and she knocked Lola out or cold. I thought this was perfect. I love the attitude of Jada Parker. Jada Parker has that, I don't want to use this term, but she has that hood ghetto mentality with her personality, and I love it because she displays it very well on NXT television. So this is going to be this is probably the most excited I am for a match at Deadline. These two going head to head.
Fair enough. I mean, that's go ahead, Nick.
No, I was just gonna say, I said it on stream of she's Baby D and Friday After Next with the fucking brick and everything like that popping out there. But we even missed the whole segment, or at least the part. I guess I was probably talking too much, but of to where we were both wondering why are they taking the ropes down? Why are they taking the ropes down? Yeah. And missed her threatening them because she came out there with a brick, but she has that star factor that it magnitude to it. I think she's already surpassed Lola as far as like the pecking order, I feel, in the women's division now.
Yeah, Parker's a star and she's on her way up in a big way. She got knocked out on Tuesday. She's going to win on Saturday. It will only strengthen her value. Again, she might not be a technical fighter. She might be in there with somebody who's MMA trained, but she's gonna, snatch her by the hair and beat the shit out of her. So I'm all for it. Like Anthony said, that ghetto fab style gonna be on full display.
Anyone else seen a longer line to take somebody's finisher in pro wrestling? I don't know if I've seen one longer. I've taken Jada's finisher. Sign me up. I'll take that before I take an F5.
She coming in with the boom.
Right.
I think it's time to push Parker. I think a lot of people feel that way. And she's broke away from OTM real strong, real fast. And again, it's just she feels like one of those people who are just undeniable, that no matter what you put her in, she's going to stand out and kind of own the room. And I think this is a moment for her.
And I really feel like her character goes both ways, where it can work as a heel and it can work as a face. So I think she's kind of in that role where it's kind of perfect for whatever you kind of put her in. I just, one thing, a lot of people say is like they like we need to fast track her to the main roster. In this point, like fast track her to the main roster and put her in that mid card scene and then build her up, since we got those titles now. Really give her that run with one of the mid-card titles on the main roster and then push her to face Bianca Belair or something. I don't know.
I still think she's got to at least go through the mid-card division in NXT and everything. I hope after this she's done and dusted with Lola, respectfully. Like KJ said, she's separated herself from even OTM, that now they kind of feel lost in the mud again. I think she's past Lola, but I still think she needs to, I don't want to say earn her stripes, but still, you don't want to throw her into the mid cards and then she just stays in the mid cards on the main roster and everything. I think that there's enough potential. She's a blue chip prospect, a diamond in the rough, to say, of you let her still develop and still grow through NXT a bit.
Yeah, I think she has an opportunity to go after Fallon. I think that'd be a good setup. I mean, the main event picture right now in NXT is pretty log jammed. There's a lot of ladies we're going to talk about here tonight. So I do think that, she gets a big win. She can progress. I mean, there is an outside chance that Lola stops her, and then they use the excuse of a stipulation match and then they have a follow-up. But I think Jada's on her way and they're in no rush to move anybody up at this point, it's seemingly. So, yeah, I mean, I think she has a chance here to get really hot and have a really nice run on NXT to the point where you have no choice sometime next year to consider bringing her up to the main roster.
And how do you outstep Raw Underground or NXT Underground? And I still think she's got to get an NXT title win, or at least challenge for it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'd like to see her take the belt from Fallon at some point.
Well, is it Tatum? Does Fallon still have it? I can't remember. I'm terrible.
She beat her.
Oh, fair enough. I'm a terrible nerd. But no, you did bring up a perfect point, though, with the NXT main women's title is very much a logjam, and I don't think she would skip the line and jump to the main roster. I still think I'd like to see a Stephanie Vaccor versus a Jada, just for my own guilty pleasures. Don't question it. Yeah.
62% of the chat is taking Lola.
Boo.
Oh,
There you go. Lola got some popularity out there. You're getting some love. So don't count out Lola Vice. She is a lethal weapon in her own right, so to speak. So we'll see. But again, I think this match is close enough that it could go either way.
Did any of us give our actual predictions, or did we just sing the praises? Go ahead.
Parker. I'm picking Parker.
Yeah. I was going to say, did we just give her glowing praises enough that we kind of gave it away?
Yeah, I think I just sang Jada Parker's praises, but yeah, I'm taking Jada Parker.
Yeah, 100%. Miss Parker. Absolutely.
Right, especially because she got knocked out on Tuesday. And again, you just follow the rules of wrestling.
Well, no, Lola is the one who got knocked out.
Lola ended up taking the knockout?
Yes.
Yeah.
Wow, I gotta stop the vitamins. So yeah, Lola might win.
No, you can't take my laws and use them against me, not against my love, my passion. Right. Jada.
Maybe I'll go Lola. I might be changing my mind. Maybe the chat's right.
Well, normally you've been a big supporter and a big fan of Lola. So
yeah, she cooled off. She cooled off a lot. I still like Lola a lot. More for her Instagram posts than her wrestling. But she has cooled off quite a bit.
The baby face turn, the fake cry, the no tears heard round the world is what really, I think, put a fucking hole in that ship.
That was terrible, and you and I were here for that, Nick. That was just completely terrible with that fake cry stuff.
Too funny.
See more tears with people chopping onions.
Them Lola. That's funny. All right. Do you want to talk about the rules of the Iron Survivor?
Yes. So I have it broken down because, again, still it can be a little bit confusing, especially because they've only done it 3 times. And I saw we finally figured out the rules for the Diamond Ring on AEW last night and everything. But yes, 5 wrestlers compete in the match, which lasts 25 minutes. We're on a strict time limit. 2 wrestlers start the match, which begins the timer, and every 5 minutes, another wrestler enters, with the 5th and final participant entering at the 15-minute mark. So it's kind of Survivor Series weirdly. Each time a wrestler scores a pinfall, submission, or being the victim of a disqualification, they gain a point. Points can be gained even before other participants have entered. A wrestler who is pinned, submitted, or disqualified goes into the penalty box for 90 seconds, after which they can re-enter the match. The winner of the match, dubbed the Iron Survivor, is the wrestler who scores the most points at the end of 25 minutes time limit. In the result of a tie, those who are tied enter sudden death overtime.
Ooh.
And the winners of the men's and women's matches earn a future match for the NXT Championship and the NXT Women's Championships, respectively. I don't think we've ever seen a tie.
No, we have not. So now that you mention it, I'm like,
yeah, now that I mention it, maybe. If there's a match that could have one, it might be this.
Right. I will let everyone out there know. YouTube will only let me put 4 options in a poll. So sorry, Ren St. Clair, you're not winning.
We're gonna get flooded now with other in the good chat.
Right. I can't expand beyond the 4 main competitors. This one's actually, I think, tough to call. I mean, 5 strong women, 3 of the women are brand new. So with the IWC, the internet peeps out there, they all need a win, and if they lose, they're buried. So I don't know what we're gonna do. Plus, you got Sol Ruka. Ren's a bit of a surprise. I really like Sol Ruka, but man, Zarya, Steph, and Julia, the new girls on the block, I don't know how they're going to be stopped. One of those 3 seem like the favorites, all 3 of them.
If those women weren't in the match, it would have been Sol Ruka. Let's be honest.
Yeah, absolutely. Like this is very difficult to choose just between the 3 of them. Like, do you choose Stephanie, Julia, or Zarya? Like, it's very difficult to choose from these 3. But Shawn Michaels can pull the upset, and it's not neither of these three. And it could be Sol Ruka. I'm not saying Ren Sinclair. I don't think that'll happen, but it could
Sure,
be
get
Sol
caught trying to get
Ruka.
the final win again.
It really could be Sol Ruka to take the win, but honestly, I don't see it. It's just this one is very difficult to out of the five of them, three of them are some of the strongest women that you have on the on NXT, and it's like I don't know. I don't know where you would go here.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a hell of a battle. I think it's going to be a fun match. Julia already had her chance, but she got screwed at her chance. So does she circle back? I don't know. I'm kind of leaning another way a little bit. I really want Sol Ruka to win, but I can't pick her. It'd be a nice surprise.
She's like option 4 in this very clearly. Since you said there's only 4 options in this poll, she is option 4. I'm hoping honestly that we all 3 pick different competitors, and I know the 3 that we're really probably picking from here. So I feel like we might go 3 different ways.
I'm going to take the wild card, and I'm picking Sol Ruka.
Yes.
Oh,
I'm picking Sol Ruka.
I love Sol Ruka, so that's a great pick. That opens it up. That opens the floor up.
Yeah.
What are you thinking?
Oh, I was going to ask you to go.
I will. I mean, right now the chat's tied on it. We'll see what it turns out. I'm taking Steph. I'm going to take Stephanie Vacour. She's getting popular super fast. A lot of people have said, yeah, Julia kind of had the star power coming in, but Vacour is instantly kind of taken the world by storm. People love her thigh slam move because they're thirsty. But other than that, I'm going to take Stephanie Vacour. I think she's a huge challenger in this division.
That's the thing, though. This is a murderer's row, and Anthony kind of threw a monkey wrench into my plans if he took the dark horse and took Sol Ruka. Because, I mean, the big question, it's almost to me, the question is, do we feel who wins this match beats Roxanne in their challenge? Because if they don't, then it opens the floor even more.
Yeah, true.
Which is why I'm taking Delta.
You're going Zarya?
I'm going Zarya. I can't even bring myself to say Zarya. I think I've given this woman enough grief. I got to pick her at least for a match and everything. I won't you, Jody, threat her. So I'll take Zarya. And like you even mentioned, I had even kind of halfway put it in the back of my mind. If Julia's already had her shot to a bit of those 3 women, that's the murderer's row right now. That is the fucking monsters when it comes to the NXT women's division. 100%. So now it becomes the question of, like I said, of if they challenge Roxanne, do they win? And I think Zarya can maybe by hook or by crook, she gets cheated out because Cora Jade gets involved, what have you. There's a kerfuffle around it, and she still survives and looks strong. Yes, I actually picked Zoltan. I'm defeating myself here, but yes. And she still looked incredibly strong and everything like that. She's looked like the powerhouse out of these 3.
Yeah, I want Zarya versus Jordynne Grace. Let's go.
Oh, you give Zarya the NXT Women's title, and then when Jordynne Grace comes in, that's the match you have? Oh.
Big, beefy women slapping meat.
I saw Anthony's desk raise right there.
Now, I'm going to be honest. I saw the first match between Delta and Jordynne Grace, and I was not a fan. So I'm not really looking forward to seeing the second match. But I did say that since it would be produced by WWE, it could turn out a lot different. So, like, in the back of my mind, I'm like, I want to see it, but I don't want to see it like it was the first time.
Fair enough. And sometimes like they say styles make matches, and sometimes when you have 2 athletes that are so similar, they kind of come up to a stalemate and you don't get the match you're hoping for.
Yeah.
So it'd be very interesting. But we'll see what Delta does now in NXT. And again, you understand why people kind of want to see these 2 ladies kind of come together. It'll be very intriguing, but I do think that Roxanne's due to lose the title.
But does she even, now that we've entered Jordan into the conversation, does she hold on to it and then drops it to Jordan? And then that's the final goodbye of Roxanne. And now Jordan's running roughshod, because this is the thing, is it's the logjam of everybody's so talented at the front. It's literally pick one and they could win it, and you can make perfect sense of why it would happen.
Yeah, 100%.
I feel like if they would have did the Roxanne and Jordan, they should have done it this summer when they faced off.
Mhm.
She wasn't under contract. She wasn't under contract.
I know, but it was they were really in that deep in that partnership, but now it seems like it doesn't really exist anymore. But I feel like if they would have did it, they should have did it then. I don't feel like Jordan Grace comes in and wins the title. I honestly don't even feel like Jordan Grace comes in and goes to NXT. I feel like she's main roster ready since she really technically had her debut on the main roster in the Royal Rumble. I really feel like she bypasses NXT, to be honest.
Very possible.
Well, and that's something very interesting that you brought up, Anthony. I've kind of thought about it, especially when we were here on Tuesday, of is NXT TNA kind of passe now, because we don't see that much more of an NXT or a TNA influence showing up now in NXT like we used to.
Yeah, I think it did kind of take a backseat right now. I don't know if they're going to heat up again. I do know that Saturday night main event, the one in January, is like 2 days before the live episode of TNA, or after, I should say, next January. So there's been hints and rumors of maybe someone showing up then. But right now, yeah, it has taken a backseat. I don't know if it's for a good thing or they're trying to start something and build something where it's a NXT versus TNA type of thing later on. But yeah, it's definitely taking a backseat.
Yeah, I like the ebbs and flows of it. We've seen it kind of like come in, and it's not just this consistent thing. It's been in pieces, right? And in both directions. So let it cool off. We know that TNA kind of quiets down, but they'll ramp up in the new year heading towards Genesis. And NXT, we got Deadline, and then we'll be back for New Year's Evil. So we'll see. I mean, a very interesting what 2025 is going to bring for that relationship in both companies. So
right. What is Josh Alexander doing in the main event zone?
Right.
Right.
So I'm going Stephanie. You're going Soul. You're going...
No, I'm wrong side. Point.
Mirror. I'm going Soul.
Yeah,
go the opposite of what your brain tells you to do and point it at anything.
You gotta mirror some shit. But and you're taking Zarya.
Sorry, Sultan.
The chat went. It was funny because they were tied, but they are tied. Julia 36%, Stephanie 36%, 35. Soul 12 and Zarya 19.
Ooh,
so Anthony has the dark horse and Julia. I'm surprised nobody picked Julia, but I think because she had the shot before, we all hesitated.
Wait, hold on. I thought you said Julia was at 36%.
She's tied with Stephanie, but nobody.
I thought you were saying with the chat. I was like, wait, hold on. I think a lot of people picked her.
No, nobody.
You got the odds-on favor. You 50-50.
None of us.
No, I mean, it doesn't make for a good discussion if you pick the one that's the most likely.
Yeah, no, for sure. We'll see. And again, I mean, other than Ren, does anybody out there think that Ren can steal this?
I mean, she stole it on Tuesday, which was kind of shocking.
No one but her parents are picking Ren Sinclair for this match.
Right? It feels like they just needed someone to take some pinfalls.
Yeah, 100%. I said this on Tuesday. She's the fucking Mortoast of absolutely with this. Just out there to do the job. I don't even know that her parents might just be picking Julia for all we know.
Right.
Honey, I love you, but I gotta put you're 10-1 odds. I gotta put the odds on the favorite here.
Right. Okay. Now we got an interesting one. I'm not going to put Eddie on the list because I only have 4 options, and we don't
Fair
know.
Enough. Well, because I don't think Eddie might be there.
I don't think so. I think there's going to be a surprise person who could actually win it. You want to talk about it?
Yeah, no, I'm so spoiler alert, full enough. I guess I'll go right into even my prediction. I'm taking a page out of your playbook and everything. I'm taking, surprise entrant TBD because we saw Eddie Thorpe get taken out at the end of NXT, and we had the little segment before with Stevie Turner and Robert Stone to where somebody showed up and walked in. They didn't show it, but they all got, and everything. So I know you've mentioned it. I haven't been here to mention it. I've seen it. I've heard the discussion, everything like that. But it's very much got a Samoan influence of what can I say except you're welcome.
Well, they kind of set it up with Ava not really being there, but being on the phone, like she was up to something.
Right.
I feel like Ava could be setting up her own little Samoan SWAT team with Hikuleo and Lance. So I don't know which one's going to show up at Deadline, but maybe both.
It would be interesting as shit though if it was Oba Femi.
Femi would be a mind blower. Let's go.
He and I said this before I went live. He's the only one. Like he's one of the few because Penta's been thrown out there too and everything because he's now a free agent. But in that segment with Robert Stone and Stevie Turner, it looked like they recognized who walked in. So that's the only thing why I'm like, maybe it would be something like that. Maybe unless like Solo shows up or anything like that, or if he sends a fucking Jacob, heaven forbid. But yeah, that's the only thing that first segment muddies the water a little bit. And we've missed Oba. Oba's been missing since he lost the title.
Yeah, I was just about to say that. Like, we haven't seen Oba in like a month or so, right?
Yeah.
So Oba would be, if it was Oba, I can definitely see Oba coming in there, winning, and then taking the title off of Trick. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know who to choose in this match. I'm gonna be a little bit of a negative Nancy here, but the caliber in this match, besides Ethan Page, a little bit besides Wesley, shows the lack of depth in the men's division in NXT. I'm excited for this match, but it just shows that there's something lacking. They don't have that star power in the men's division like they do really with the women in NXT.
They're bouncy.
Yeah, and I mean, Wesley got a haircut. Does that make him more of a contender? Nope, not for me.
Right.
I don't know. I mean, trying to make. I like Wesley. Don't get me wrong. I just don't feel the same way. Javon's a rookie. Nathan's a tag team guy. I love the idea of Tammy throwing out there that Hikuleo and Lance attack the winners of the tag titles. I never even thought of that, so that's pretty good. The Penta would be crazy. Oba makes the most sense, though.
Yeah.
Like, as far as what we know.
Minus Bloodline, minus Dwayne. That's the thing. You have the Dwayne Trump card, and I say that tongue in cheek, very much of to where he can, call an audible whenever he wants.
Right. Yeah, that's fair enough. I mean, again, there's Samoans running wild. It's
Right.
crazy.
Yeah.
But on the paper in front of us, Ethan Page has to be the favorite.
Right.
Ooh. Really?
Well, who's your favorite?
Out of who's there?
Yes.
Wes or Javon?
Really?
Really?
Okay.
Because again, it begs the question of they might challenge. It doesn't mean they're going to win. And Ethan, to me, is already. How many times have we gone to that tap? How many times is the well dry with running back Trick and Ethan? Because we've already done it a few times and everything. Javon versus Trick, and this still depends on how the main event plays out. So I'll just keep saying Trick because he's the current champion, not to give away my prediction for the main event. But you might see somebody else, go after Trick, and a Javon and Trick have already had a match together. They have that, kind of connection. Oh, you got to be the young OG coming at me. And Wesley's gone heel. He's changed his whole look. He's tried to be, dark Wesley. So maybe.
Yeah. Now, Anthony's got a solid point in the fact of, and I mean, this is not just for Deadline. It's a unique thing that I don't recall happening in any other company, with maybe the exception at some point of the Knockouts division. But the women are running this show. Like, this is lackluster on paper. I mean, Nathan, Javon, Wes, no offense. Ethan's a main event guy. Eddie was a DJ last time I saw him, and then he got beat up. So
he beat that beat up.
Right. So now, I mean, for my money, the women's division, like we just talked, like all 4 out of 5 women are viable contenders, not to mention some of the other women we've already talked about on other matches.
Yeah.
Right.
It's stacked for the women on NXT right now.
And we've said that multiple times. Like, we're here every Tuesday, every time that they do even an NXT premium live event or what have you or anything. It's been very predominantly led by the women's division. It was what was the last one that they did that was almost like 70%, like pretty much women's matches and everything? Meanwhile, other companies that name starts with vowels and everything might have one obligatory women's match and everything. But NXT has most of their show led women's segments, women's matches, and everything feels viable. No one's, complaining about having too much women's matches on their shows. No one's saying that, they're sloppy matches like everyone did with the Women's Survivor Series.
Mhm.
I saw, I agree with Anthony's point that he brought up earlier today off of this and everything of, could WWE or at least NXT do a whole other women's premium live event on its own of it's just the women's division?
100%. I mean, not just NXT, but I'll let Anthony answer because he cut a really good video on it. But yeah.
When you have 7 titles between all 3 brands, you can run all women's pay-per-view without involvement from outside companies. And there was one point like 2 months ago where I said you could do Knockouts, Knockdown, and Evolution. You don't need that. Like WWE can do an all women's pay-per-view with all 7 titles on the line by themselves. I think it's just the perfect time in 2025 to do it. Like you said, you have the women technically running NXT. I think it was like 2 or 3 weeks ago, to your point, Nick, where I think it was like 75% of the show was women's matches.
Yep.
Like, and another company, and I'm not trying to talk about TNA, but TNA does it quite frankly as well, where they do, 3 or 4 knockouts matches in an hour and a half, and then you have the other company that does one women's match that may get 7 minutes between 9 and 9:30 every Wednesday. So I just like WWE is doing something really nice with the women in NXT. I think they're trying to translate that a little bit to the main roster now with these tournaments and the new titles. So this is the prime opportunity to put your women on the pedestal.
Yeah, and you could do it without all the like last time they did it, it was great, but you brought in Trish, you brought in Lita, you brought in some other names. I mean, you could still bring in some surprise pops and some nostalgia pops, but you could legitimately run it as a viable right now pay-per-view, and the talent from top to bottom would be solid and current. There's so much talent on the main roster, so much talent in NXT that you'd have no problem having especially with Triple H at the helm, you'd have 5, 6 matches. That's all. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
right?
It wouldn't be 10 matches like you normally get.
I will pose 2 questions or 2 statements and everything. And yeah, it's funny that MDB brings up Trish, because did you see the statement from Trish of praising up Nia Jackson, saying, I don't know if I can officially retire without getting ragdolled by her? I feel like there's a lot of men out there who might agree with her on that. But yeah, and I almost wonder, and we've all kind of almost said the same thing different ways, so it feels like NXT is kind of an example of this and kind of been this. Could WWE at this point run a weekly television show that's all women's wrestling and no one's going to bat an eye at it?
I don't know. I don't know if it draws. It's just
did the women drew it on NXT?
You're not wrong, but I just don't know if you did. Does it blend in and become like a WoW vibe? I don't know.
You would get backlash because people would fucking go at it on Twitter and everything just because you made it an all women's thing. I think NXT's done it. I think NXT's done it well. We've talked about it. 70 to 8, goddamn, almost 80% all women's matches, women's segments, women's promos, women's backstage and everything, women's angles. Women run the fucking show, but because you still get the men's segments and everything, and you didn't announce it's a women's show, no one's fucking causing a kerfuffle. No one's raising a fucking issue, a stank about it, because it's women's wrestling put on a good level.
Yeah, I mean, a weekly show would be a tough shout. I mean, but if ever there was a time, this would be the closest we are to it.
I feel like if WWE did that, I guess it was brought up before by Mickie James. I think Mickie James mentioned that she wanted to do within WWE a weekly all women's wrestling show. At that point in time, I don't think the roster was as stacked as it is now. Now I could see WWE doing it, trying to give it a try. Does it draw is, I think, KJ's big question. Does it draw? I don't know. I know I'm gonna watch it. Yeah. I know the channel will watch it, but will it draw the other ones that have their thoughts and opinions about women. I don't know.
Well, no, and that's fair enough, and that's why. Sorry, go ahead, KJ.
No, I was just gonna say, would NXT be all male then? Like, would it be that type of division?
That's again, yes, that is the counterpoint. I was just gonna say, I think that again, I think NXT and HBK and everybody that's running NXT and the women themselves have very much hit it out of the park. Of they've managed to essentially do that and managed to still slide it under the rug to where, again, nobody's raising pitchforks. You don't even have, good old Cornette out there hating NXT women's matches or anything like that because it's the women wrestling or anything like that. Of everybody's just enjoying of what is going on in NXT and not paying attention to the fact that it's mostly the women's division that's running the ship.
Yeah, I mean, again, I think that's the trick here. Is you kind of let the women run it and you do it.
No, so maybe stay the course. I'm fine with that. I will settle on a women's pay-per-view. We'll go to the weekly show.
Yeah, it's a good question though. I mean, it's like, where would you put it? I mean, Netflix does open up options, but yeah, I don't know. I mean,
anyone pay attention to Speed? Anyone know the current Speed champions?
That's just a Twitter thing. Nobody cares.
So make it Twitter. That's where all them thotties are. That's where everyone's thirsting over these women too on Twitter.
Live on OnlyFans next week.
Oh no. I went there and you went there. You're like, these go to 11.
I love you, ladies. I'm just playing. But
I'm just a player. I just crushed
it. NXT to have women sprinkled in. They're the best part of the show. That's the other part is if you take all the ladies off NXT might suck.
That's a glaring weakness that Anthony pointed out. That's a big chink in the armor there.
You're gonna have to bring the bloodline in every Tuesday if it was an all men's show.
No, that's when you bring in the Lances, the Hikalayos, the Zillas,
right,
and everything.
Right. Bloodline 3.0 in the house.
Well,
go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, well, speaking of that, we've given our predictions on who on papers here, who do we think could be the surprise return if we had to pick Daddy?
Well, it's funny because the chat right now voted 36% for Javon, 36% for Wes, 27% for Ethan, 0 for Nathan. Nathan, none.
Well, he's doing double duty. And yes, again, I said duty.
Right. Now he could get taken out in his match and not make it either. We could have two replacements. Two
TBD. So then you're hedging your bets if you take TBD because you got a 33 1/3% chance of winning.
Right. Dragon Lee and Candice LeRae are the Speed champions, by the way.
And then the Kraken shout out already right in there, right underneath it. Dragon Lee women's speed men's,
There you go. I didn't know.
I haven't watched a single speed match. Keep it a buck.
Me neither.
I've seen a few, but not much. And I mean, it's usually if I just happen to be scrolling at like lunchtime kind of thing. Like, oh, hey, they do this.
Tune in to Saturday morning speed updates with KJ White.
Right.
Him and the horse will be co-hosting your speed updates.
Right. So who is your official pick to win the men's Iron Survivor? This one's so tough because we don't know what the fuck's happening.
TBD. I'm taking KJ's playbook of always,
TBD. That's not fair.
No, okay. So I'll say Hikaleo. If we're gonna put a nail to the wall, how many times have you taken TBDs and Royal Rumbles and they've never been in the match? But I'll take Hikaleo.
They don't even make it in. I'm like, fuck.
Right.
I'm gonna take Wesley.
Oh.
No opinion or thoughts around it. I'm gonna just take Wesley because I feel like he's what's on paper, he's the second strongest out of the 5 because the first one would be Ethan Page. And so I'm gonna just go with Wesley.
TBD is going to the playoffs. Yes, they fucking are.
Yeah.
I'm gonna
spoiler. Go ahead.
I'm gonna go Ethan just because right now I'll go Ethan. Let him run it back. I think he should still be the champion right now. But yeah, I'll go Ethan. But I like the idea of Oba coming in, winning it, and then Oba versus who I'm going to predict in the next match.
By the way, I think it's hilarious that your fantasy football team is named TBD. It's very fitting for you, very on brand. But I was about to say, wait, hold on. You both pick people in the match? And you're going to hang me to the fucking board if I say TBD? I'm picking someone who I'm taking the odds that someone not in the match is going to win.
Well,
and I have to be specific on that.
My issue was that you're picking, like, if it's TBD and Lance, like, fucking Zilla Fatu shows up, and you're like, woo! That's kind of not fair.
How is it not fair? He wasn't supposed to be in the match.
All the options. You got to, like,
bro, how many times have you picked TBD? You literally said, I'm taking TBD, and then not named the name.
Well, I mean, again, it's okay when I do it.
right. TBD is the horse, says Lady B. There, I'm taking the horse. Oh, no, I'll say Hikaleo if I got to hitch my wagon to anybody.
What about Oba? No, do we change, like maybe?
No, if I got to go, I don't know. Does Oba classify as a TBD?
Well, yeah,
because he's not announced.
Right, but no, I can say just all TBDs, right? So I'm going straight Samoan. I'm going with the connection to Ava of what does she have in her navel pause, of what surprise does she pull out and everything. And we talked about this before we went live, of even my thoughts of they looked like they knew the person that walked in the first segment, but again, Hikaleo shows up in all of his almost 7 foot tall ass. You're going to be intimidated no matter what. You're just whatever you want, take it.
So you're taking STBD. So Samoan to be determined.
Samoan to be determined. Does that at least get me 3? Does that get me Lance, Hikaleo, and Zilla? I got 3.
Could be Journey Fatu. Could be
4. I'll hitch my wagon to Hikaleo, and I'll still be happy if another Samoan shows up.
Hakuna Matata is going to take the win. You heard it from Nick.
He's not Talatonga. Well, and then still, too, because does he jump up to the main roster and go and hang out in the new bloodline with his brothers, especially Bronson's out? And it makes sense of you'd have someone that's acting on The Rock's behalf that pairs with the new bloodline, and he's already going to be out there with his brothers. So long-term booking, it works.
You're not right. You're not right. You're not wrong.
Yes, I know I'm not right. Thank you for telling everybody that. As I be called him Lululemon.
You're not wrong in the sense that Jonah's out, broke his ankles, poor guy, T's and P's. They have an opening, plus they're coming off a loss, and we're not done with Solo and Roman. They've sold us on that. So yeah, let's hold on tight. I mean, lots of question marks. WWE land. There's a lot of good question marks, a lot of what could happen. Even with this pay-per-view, 5 matches, a lot of what ifs. So
yeah,
I like what they've done.
Yeah, I'd rather be having what ifs instead of what the fucks. There's the time of the way that it works out. But I love this though from MDB real quick. So the unofficial mascot of Wrestling for Life Network is a horse.
I'm gonna have
to make channels say that the goats were the horse.
Giddy up, folks. Giddy up. All right. Well, on that wonderful note.
Right. Yeah, see, the what if sell tickets instead of the what if or the what the fucks drop ratings. But I digress.
Shit, that's a wicked statement all around. With all that being said, we do have a main event. We do have a world title match. Mixed emotions about this title match, or at least mixed reactions. I don't know how you guys feel about the match itself going into it. And again, it'll be curious to see who wins. I think I know where Nick's going, so you can start.
I love everything so far. Like, I'm really enjoying the new Ridge and everything. And even the man's playing the ultimate troll now, too, of like even after the New Day split up. And he just posted a picture like this. And I think he almost tagged it with "You're welcome." But yeah, that's the thing, is the man is single-handedly responsible for ending the New Day and Chase U.
Yeah.
That is true. When it comes to this match, I'm gonna just be perfectly honest. I wish this match was for the vacant NXT championship with these two guys nowhere near it. I'm not a fan of Trick.
Who would you put in that? You can't.
I don't know. I just don't want it. I don't have a who, what, when, how of who I would want to be in it, but I know these two, I don't want them to be in it. I am not a fan of Trick, and Ridge Holland is boring to me. I am not excited about this match. I might even cut it off when this match happens. I kind of hope it's in the middle of the show so I can turn it back on to see the rest of the show. I have no choice here. I have no pick. I don't want to see this match, period. That's very harsh.
But damn, like
On that resounding note,
I don't even know how to come back.
Trick due to outside interference from Chase. Could Chase show up and mash up Ridge? I hope not.
Trick University.
Now-
sounds like Cat Williams and It's Hard Out Here for a Pimp met together. Trick University.
Trick you.
Right.
This one, I'm torn on this one. I kind of want Ridge to win, especially if Oba does get anywhere near a title. Ridge versus Oba's got a better vibe for me than Oba versus Trick. But whoever Oba goes after is on borrowed time. Dead man walking on that one.
That's true.
I think Trick retains. I'm not sure why or how, but they just gave him the belt back. I think he retains.
Ridge wins. Ridge is right now he's got the most attention, the most momentum at top of the card when it comes to NXT.
Yeah.
Love him, hate him, however you want to feel about him. He might be, bland or whatever. He's done the awkward, I retired and then unretired and all of that. But no, Ridge wins this. He's sold it of now that little, small package, DDT and everything's devastating. He's playing into now the whole gimmick, much like Jack Perry with the scapegoat, a little bit of like, I'm, right. These hands, these terrible hands, I can't control what they do. This man is idle hands. But yeah, no, Ridge wins this. And I at least agree to an extent with Anthony of like, we've said this for a minute of even when they had Trick with Carmelo and everything, Trick has not been great. He almost needs to like slow down. Like he needs to re-find himself or something. And maybe he needs to do that on the main roster and just move along. Because I don't know at this point if he can do it, because you can't drop him down because then it's a demotion, and you can't have him stay as champion because what the fuck. But so yeah,
it's like every singles match he has had holding the title or trying to win the title has been lackluster. The endings of all of the matches have been lackluster. And it's just like, I'm not like, he's great on the mic. Like he can rally the crowd. That's a talent in itself to rally the crowd behind you. But when it comes to and I know it's NXT and I know it's green and you're still learning, but when it comes to the in-ring ability, all his matches are anticlimactic. And I'm just and Ridge Holland, I don't really hate Ridge Holland. I just find him very boring.
Very boring.
That's kind of where I am with Ridge.
I think we're getting the best Ridge we've gotten. I like he did that like fake semi-retirement thing, and then ever since he came back from that, again, I didn't love him hanging around with Chase U much, but it's led into this like, I am who I am. I will, like, I don't trust myself. It's like the Ridge smash. Like he's gonna fuck people up if he gets their hands on him. Ultimately, I agree with Anthony. I mean, Trick has underwhelmed us. The people he's over, he gets big pops, he gets big cheers. He might be a guy that's over without a belt, to be honest. Like he's still over even though he doesn't have a belt. So we'll see. But I just think they're going to keep the belt on him and give him a little more of a run here.
Well, that's what he was before, even when he was with Carmelo. He was the guy, and that's what led to the split up in the feud and everything, because he became the guy that was over without the belt and everything. I could see Trick goes up to the mid card of like SmackDown, and you throw him, you can reignite Carmelo and Trick in the mid card there. And you've got LA Knight, you've got Shinsuke, you've got Andrade, you've got a little bit of work rate. Maybe Trick gets exposed a little bit because I mean the work's there. But that's the thing is, then what you do the IC division? He goes Braun Breaker, Sheamus, Ludwig, like Trick. Really, he's great on the mic. He's great character, great persona, great personality. But in ring is the issue. You don't think he's good on the mic?
I don't think he's a good promo. I think he's an okay promo. Like I think he's
really good for NXT. I'll say that.
I don't know about that. I think he's meh.
I feel like he has a way of getting the crowd into what he's saying.
Okay.
It might not be the best, but I do feel like he has a presence where he can get the crowd behind him.
We have the whole crowd whoop that Trick.
Right.
Whoop that Trick. Like before Jay
not him. That's his song going. That's his song, not him. But not him.
It's
not
part
like
of
he's
you got to
coming
get
out
the
and-
song over. I mean, shit.
The song got itself over. Like,
That's
it is
true.
what it is. CEO. Nah, bullshit.
No, that ain't over. That's just crowd. That's pumped in. That ain't over like a motherfucker, and you know that.
I do know that.
Yeah, you trying to call a
I don't
fucking liar here.
bad promo. I just don't. He never wows me with the mic. I feel like he's still kind of ironing out the delivery.
That's
on
why
some
you
of the
throw him in the mid card. But I worry if you throw him in any, like, especially with the U.S. division that's somehow become the work rate mid card. But I think it makes the most sense because the IC belt division seems kind of full. You throw him in the U.S., but then you got to run. You got to learn to grow fast and everything, because I think he's run his ticket out. He's run his free trial of NXT out a little bit of now. It's either nut up or shut up of at least you're going to be here and at least you're going to learn. Because Carmelo, think about it, Carmelo was an NXT champion and is still learning and growing and everything on SmackDown. So you throw Trick in there and maybe they reconnect. Maybe they have a feud. We'll see.
right idle hands. Shout out Devin Sawa. I haven't said that name in a long time. Yeah,
I've never heard that name before.
yeah, I mean, an interesting one. I'm not sure what our picks officially were. Now I can't remember.
Rage wins. Him being out there of being the bad threat of, like, at any time I can hurt you and everything. And it is a shift in the pivot. Now, granted, with my pick in the Iron Survivor may not fit with it, but yeah.
I'm gonna take Ridge, just to see what he does with the championship. Maybe
Nice.
he'd be a bit more interesting. Maybe I'll, see what he can do with the championship. So I'm gonna take Ridge because I definitely want it off Trick. I'm gonna just be perfectly honest.
Fair enough. I'm taking Trick just because I'm leaning on what they're booking. So, and like I said, if Oba's getting a push towards the champion, they're on borrowed time anyway. Ridge might be a better matchup for Oba, but maybe Oba coming in and destroying Trick works really well too. So I'm gonna go Trick, just kind of on the idea that he just got the belt and they're gonna give him a longer shot at this.
Just got the belt again. And could Oba be a guy that jumps the line? Could Oba be the guy that goes to the main roster?
There was rumors. There was people. There was certain reporters out there saying that he was going to be on Raw a month ago, and that never happened. So could Oba show up on the main roster and mash up some people? 100%.
Oh yeah.
Right. I'm surprised Anthony took anybody with his whole promo. I was like, this man just hates this match. He doesn't even want to see this.
Like,
I really don't.
Whatever is the match before this is the main event.
true. Do you think that this match does end the night, though? It should, right?
Yeah, it's world champ. It has to.
Yeah, I imagine it will.
The only caveat I would say to it is if there's a bigger, like, if they make a big deal, if they make a big surprise, a big splash with a return in the Iron Survivor, which I still think they might still do it, and then set up of what will happen afterwards. So less likely, but there's the potential.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, I mean, very intriguing overall. This made me laugh. Devin Sawa, wow, you ain't ever seen Final Destination, the Stan music video, Little Giants.
I didn't recognize the name. I don't know the man's fucking IMDb.
I'm with you there, Nick. I didn't recognize the name either.
I was like, Samhain? Are we going James Mitchell? Is this man setting up to a James Mitchell joke?
Right. Can we talk about the Ryan Nemeth news? I think we'll save that for tomorrow. We'll stick to NXT tonight. But yeah, we'll get into Ryan Nemeth and all that fun stuff tomorrow. This is, again, all I'm going to say about it, guys, is I feel like more and more wrestlers that are no longer under contract with AEW will have some shit to say. Some dirt is going to get out.
Where there's smoke, there's fire. And unfortunately, Tony keeps trying to put out fires with NDAs.
I guess I have to read up about the Ryan Nemeth news because I've missed all of it.
Oh, yeah. It's a good read. It's a good read. It's one of those that initially you dismiss. You're like, I'll catch that on the go round, and you're like, no, it's good read. It's good read.
Yeah, when it first came up, it was like, oh well, Ryan's got issues with Punk. But then when I actually read what happened, I was like, Oh, this different. Yes, let's go.
Great.
Ooh,
I
okay.
actually like
I'm
Punk
interested now.
and I like a Nemeth. What the fuck's going on here?
Ian's got a good one. Oba joins Kofi and Xavier. Oh,
No, because Odyssey Jones. I don't want to see that happen again.
wait, what? Wait, why?
Because that's
What
a
does
cursed
that have to
position.
do with the
That's a
other?
cursed position. Think about it. Big E got kicked out.
Right.
Odyssey Jones in it. He's gone. That's cursed. Stay away. That's the Blair Witch of wrestling position. Stay the fuck away from that.
Right.
Saves that bitch at least first.
It's messy, like Real
Ooh,
Housewives.
it's really messy. MDB. Now I gotta read it.
Yeah, it's definitely something else. But that's it. That's the whole card. Any other surprises, expectations, thoughts? Maybes that might happen on Saturday, or do we kind of check all the boxes?
Do we see someone like I'm trying to think of Penta's the biggest free agent out there that we know of and everything, but do we see anyone that's not in a match that does the Julia, the front row seat, and then high wave, and then they're never seen again in that seat? Do we see anybody that does that?
Megan Bain.
Oh, jeez. I don't know if this women division can handle much more thickness, my guy. We're talking about bandwidth. We're gonna have to go fiber optic with this bitch.
Right.
I'm trying to think, but I don't know. I mean, it would be interesting if you just saw the camera pan to Josh Alexander and he's waving, since we know he's up in February. I think it's February 15th. That's the exact date. So that would be interesting. But off the top of my head, no, I don't have anybody.
Yeah, I think Penta would I'd lose my mind if Penta pops up, because I think that'd be really cool. I again, my big expectation is perhaps Ava is bringing in, she got roughed up. We don't like her as GM anyway, but she could be almost more of a heel GM, which would justify my anger. And she has like her own little Samoan SWAT team that she can let loose on NXT. I kind of like that vibe.
So the bloodline, the Dwayne-a-thon, runs 2 out of the 3 shows. Essentially, they run SmackDown. Yeah. Well, used to run SmackDown and now run NXT.
Yeah,
that's not a bad one. On of Mandy Rose. Rose bad.
Mandy Rose and Stacy or Lacey Evans returned together.
No, why'd you have to take something good and soil it?
MDB made a good point with potentially Mike Bailey, because it seems like the reporters are wrong that he was supposed to be in the Continental Classic and he's not there. So Mike Bailey could show up and wave and do the little hand wave. I don't know. I'm just throwing it out there, but
that would be awesome. I'd be.
But
cool
everything that I've heard though with Bailey, as far as with the rumors about him being in the Continental Classic, is more of just the contracts lining up and everything of that. He's still most likely going AW bound, because I mean, the man's loves him some indies. He's not Josh Alexander and retiring from the indies. Mike Bailey loves to show up on 3 cards in the same evening. So the place that he can do that is in AEW. It's not in WWE.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know if now I'm hearing reports that he's not available, like Josh, until February. So again, we warn everybody, don't trust your internet sources, your reporters out there.
Right. I used to trust one all the time, but now they've been wrong so many times in the past 2 months. I just don't even read their stuff anymore. I'm not going to call them out. I'm not.
What is Dave Meltzer?
No.
No.
He's been going on for longer. Sorry.
That's been a whole mess. What is last but not least? What is Anthony looking forward to more? Final Resolution or Deadline?
It's probably Final Resolution because I'm gonna be there in person. But I don't know what's happening on Final Resolution. So right now I am excited for Deadline, with the exception of the world title match.
It's got to go somewhere, right?
I will just bring this up because I know you clicked on it and everything, and we saw Bischoff and NXT and everything, and the whole 3 minutes, and whoa, the son of 1/2 of 3 minutes of a minute and a half is still out there floating around. It was out there on Busted Open of saying he recognizes the OTC and everything. So maybe if it's not, the solo side, but what if we see a Zilla Fatu?
Zilla,
You know,
that close.
Eric brings in his 3 minutes.
I'm in. I mean, again, the Samoan dynasty is strong,
Yeah.
and we see the future of the Samoan dynasty out there, just about to make their impression on WWE. So yeah, Samoans run deep.
JBL just shows up and clotheslines everybody.
I'm so tired.
JBL everywhere.
JBL World Order.
If there's a fair and just Lord, JBL will show up and pop the head off Chris Jericho one night, and I'll be
That
like,
would be awesome.
Just clothesline him straight into retirement.
yeah, fuck, let's go. Surprisingly, or maybe not surprisingly, 53% are going for Trick, but like neck and neck. So good job. I mean, 5 compelling matches for Saturday.
Yeah.
All 3 of us clearly excited for Saturday's pay-per-view. We go live at 6:30. The show starts at 7. It's going to be a fun one. And again, it leads into our Saturday night main event week and a whole bunch of other stuff going on here at the channel. So we're looking forward to it, folks. We appreciate all of it. And we can't wait. Tomorrow we are back for SmackDown. That's going to be a fun one. And yeah, I mean, again, the shows don't stop. We don't stop. And we're heading towards the end of 2024 strong. Any final thoughts, gentlemen?
I think I'm good. I was trying to think of something, but I don't have anything. I'm interested to see this Ryan Nimitz story, though. I'm about to read this entire thing.
Yeah, it's a good
No,
read.
100%. If you want to talk about the Nemeth story, if you want to talk about free Ricky Starks or anything like that, or anything else that's been going on in the world of wrestling, make sure you're in there with that. 7:30 we would kick off for Friday Night SmackDown. Because I know we got some things to talk about.
Lots of things.
Our shit is real, our shit is raw, our shit is authentic. When you talk about that wrestling, you better put that 4 line with it.
Be a friend, tell a friend, click all the buttons. Join us tomorrow and every other night. See you on the flip side. Good night.